Joachim Nikayan Vertinen, also known as Welt Yang, was born in 1947, which was before the events of current Honkai Impact 3, as you all know. Son of Elias Nikayan Vertinen, father, and Riet Yang, mother, Welt looked up to his father and symbol of heroism. He would then later become known as the second Herrscher Riesen through inheritance from his father. First Herrscher Riesen are better known as Welt Joyce. At the age of 8 years old, Welt Yang would obtain the name Welt after obtaining the first Herrscher's core from the result of tragic deaths to his mother and his father, Welt Joyce. The young and troubled Welt Yang would soon find himself in a future conflicts and hardships as he had to take on the Herrscher of Reason title that his father once had. After the passage of the first Herrscher, Welt would later become the leader of a former branch of Schicksal, anti-entropy, allied with scientists Frederica Nikola Tesla, Liorzal Albert Einstein, and Erwin Lena Schrödinger. 1991, rumors began to spread of a Herrscher killer, and Welt Yang would then go on with scientist Liorzal Albert Einstein to track down said threat. These rumors would later turn out to be fake. 9 years later, the second Herrscher, Herrscher of the Void, would then awaken in a young girl, Siren. This event would be known as the Second Eruption. A battle would soon break out between the two Herrschers once Welt Yang witnessed the imprisonment of Theresa by the hands of Siren. Welt was powerful. He would unleash his power and overwhelm the young Herrscher of the Void. With the final technique, Stars Eden Zeroth's power, Bossy Black Hole. Siren, whom, on the verge of death, was saved by an unknown individual, thus allowing her to escape and grow stronger until the next exchange. Siren, whom had grown stronger since the last exchange, had presented a do-or-die situation to Welt. He was left with no choice but to face her. With the help of Otto, youngest son of the Bishop of Schicksal, Welt would then travel to the moon with Siegfried Caslana, the dad of Kiana Caslana, to where Siren had resided after their first exchange. Siegfried Caslana was able to collect samples of the rocks Siren would use as meteors to be launched at Earth and was able to successfully escape the moon with the help of Welt's distraction. Welt, in his weakened state due to their last exchange, had no choice but to go all out against Siren, and these two exchanged. It was clear who the victor would be. As Welt was defeated by the second Herrscher, Siren would use the core reason and its power to destroy the Earth, which came to abrupt as the will of Welt allowed him to create another body. And that is the power of the Herrscher reason, the power to create. The battle would then continue on as the Caslana family would take over and the physical body of Welt would cease to be exist. At that point, he would forever remain within that core of the Herrscher reason. And that is the prologue of the story of Welt and up to the events of Honkai Star Rail. Now, I won't talk about the lore for Welt and Honkai Star Rail because I want you all to experience it for yourself, and I really don't want to spoil the experience for you all. Well, a 5-star standard banner character of the imaginary, so light typing element, and he uses the Nihility path, which is a part of the support category. So, Welt in Honkai Star Rail is an imaginary element AoE debuffer that does decent damage as well. His ability is his ultimate, which allows him to inflict AoE Imprison, which delays and slows enemy. His ult is the quasi black hole that I've showed previously in the video. So his basic attack, Gravity Suppression, deals 100% of Welt's attack as imaginary damage to a target enemy. So this is going to be, a basic attack, single target, Edge of the Void, slashes the enemy 3 times, dealing 60% of Welt's attack as imaginary damage to a random target. On hit, there is a 75% chance to reduce the target speed by 15% for 2 turns. I don't know if the 75% chance to decrease the target speed by 15% can go higher than 75. Hopefully it can. I don't know for sure if this can increase to 100%. As you all know, I'm not a fan of RNG. I despise it. So any chance to get this to 100 is always nice. RNG is not fun. However, if you are fighting, I think if you are fighting a boss enemy, this can be a really, really good skill because since there's only one target, you're not like you would only hit the boss because there wouldn't be any other random targets to actually tank the hits from the skill. And then his ultimate, it deals 100% of Welt's attack as light damage to all enemies. There's a 100% base chance for the enemies hit by this ability to be imprisoned, and then the imprisoned enemies' actions will be delayed by 50%. And their speed will be reduced by 15. So their speed is lowered, and then their actions, so their action bar, their attack gauge, combat readiness, right, will be decreased by 50%, which is pretty nice. I think that's very good. It allows him to work pretty well and synergize with a lot of turn cycling characters. Characters that manipulate the attack bar and cause speed down is always nice. And then one of his talents is time distortion. So if the enemy hit has already been slowed, deal an additional 50% of Welt's attack as imaginary damage to the target. Support, by the way. His technique, gravitational imprisonment. After using technique, creates a small black hole that lasts for 15 seconds. Enemies who enter it will have their movement speed decrease by 50%. Upon entering battle in the black hole zone, there's a 100% chance for the enemy target to be imprisoned. Imprisoned enemies will be delayed by 20% and speed reduced by 10%. I think this is pretty good. It is the same as before, right? With this here, his skill and also the ult, it's pretty much the same. However, the ultimate, the black hole, does have a stronger speed reduction. So the ultimate does have a stronger movement bar decrease and a speed decrease as well. It's 30% extra for the movement bar, and it is a 5% increase on the speed versus a 20% movement bar decrease and then a 10% on the technique. So the technique, gravitational imprisonment, is pretty good. You do start the battle with this, and this is like a form of crowd control CC. So think of it as like Kazuha in a sense. This is like a small little black hole. I don't know if it like, so there isn't anything that like groups enemies together like a Kazuha, but it is something that is an area of effect, which is pretty nice. It decreases the movement speed by 50%, and then having a 100% chance for a enemy target to be imprisoned. The imprisoned enemies, as said before with the ultimate, so it's the same as the ult. They will have the movement bar, their action bar, their attack gauge, combat readiness, whatever you want to call it, decreased by 20%, and then their speed will be reduced by 10% as well. So this is an added effect onto the actual black hole. And then this is his ult animation, although we did see it before. This actually adds a lot of flavor to Welt as a character, because this is the same technique he actually used against Siren in their battle. I think that's pretty nice, right? Pretty nice. Then here are the constellations, but you know, we don't whale over here. We free to play gamers, so this is irrelevant to us. I think Welt would be really good in both boss enemies, so like fighting a specific boss, but also using him against like a couple mobs here and there. If there's like 2 enemies or 3 enemies, I think he'd be good there as well. Assuming that the skill does hit the, like, you can't prioritize the target, right? It is random. So let's say you kill the 2 squishies first, and then you have like a boss. Saving the skill for the boss, I think, would probably be your best bet, because it does attack enemies 3 times, and it is a random target. So if there is no other targets on the field but just the boss, then you will hit the boss with the skill. So I think probably saving this for the boss would be your best bet. But we'll have to see how this turns out when the game does go live. But I think overall he'll be a very nice support to have on your account. I know I personally have on my account, looking forward to having him. An AoE debuffer is always going to be good. I have looked at the tier list, right? So I don't know where he would sit on the tier list, but you know, waifu over meta, or in this case, you know, abs over meta. So yeah, I'm looking forward to the release of Welt. But that pretty much does it here. I'm looking forward to Welt's release in Honkai Star Rail. And he's a character I'm deeply interested in. You know, he's up there for sure with other characters, but he's definitely a personal favorite of mine. Old man Welt. But anyways, that's it. Thank you all for watching and have a nice day.